Saint Padre Pio, one of the greatest spiritual directors of all times, gave to the souls he directed, his spiritual children, a 5-point rule for fostering the spiritual life: weekly confession, daily communion and spiritual reading, examination of conscience each evening, and mental prayer twice a day. As for the recitation of the Rosary, it is so necessary, it goes without saying. Let us explain these points in the Padre's own words. Quote, "Confession is the soul's bath. You must go at least once a week. I do not want souls to stay away from confession more than a week. Even a clean and unoccupied room gathers dust. Return after a week and you will see that it needs dusting again." End quote. To those who declare themselves unworthy to receive Holy Communion, he answers, "It is quite true we are not worthy of such a gift. However, to approach the Blessed Sacrament in a state of mortal sin is one thing, and to be unworthy quite another. All of us are unworthy, but it is He who invites us. It is He who desires it. Let us humble ourselves and receive Him with a heart contrite and full of love." To another who told him that the daily examination of conscience seemed useless, since his conscience showed him clearly at each action, whether it was good or bad, he replied, "That is true enough. But every experienced merchant in this world not only keeps track throughout the day of whether he has lost or gained on each sale. In the evening, he does the bookkeeping for the day to determine what he should do on the morrow. It follows that it is indispensable to make a rigorous examination of conscience, brief but lucid, every night. The harm that comes to souls from the lack of reading holy books makes me shudder. What power spiritual reading has to lead to a change of course, and to make even worldly people enter into the way of perfection. When Saint Padre Pio was condemned to not exercise any ministry, he spent his free time not in reading newspapers, the devil's gospel, but in reading books of doctrine, history, and spirituality. Despite this, he would still say, "One looks for God in books, but finds Him in prayer." His counsels for mental prayer are simple. Quote, "If you do not succeed in meditating well, do not give up doing your duty. If the distractions are numerous, do not be discouraged. Do the meditation with patience, and you will still profit. Decide upon the length of your meditation, and do not leave your place before finishing, even if you have to be crucified. Why do you worry so much? Because you do not know how to meditate as you would like. Meditation is a means to attaining God, but it is not a goal in itself. Meditation aims at the love of God and neighbor. Love God with all your soul without reserve, and love your neighbor as yourself, and you will have accomplished half of your meditation." End quote. The same holds for assisting at the holy sacrifice of the Mass. It is more concerned with making acts of contrition, faith, love, than with intellectual reflections or considerations. To someone asking whether it is necessary to follow the Mass in a missal, Saint Padre Pio answered that only the priest needs a missal. According to him, the best way to attend the holy sacrifice is by uniting oneself to the Virgin of Sorrows at the foot of the cross, in compassion and love. It is only in paradise, he assures his interlocutor, that we will learn of all the benefits that we received by assisting at Holy Mass. Finally, there is no problem, material or spiritual, national or international, that cannot be solved by the Holy Rosary and our sacrifices. This is also the last lesson that Saint Padre Pio wanted to leave us by his example, and especially by his prayer groups, which he established throughout the world. He was never without a rosary. There was even one under his pillow. During the day, he recited several dozens of rosaries. A few hours before he died, as those around him urged him to speak a few more words, all he could say was, "Love the Blessed Virgin and make her loved. Always say the rosary." The imminent elevation of Saint Padre Pio is certainly going to arouse in many souls both curiosity and admiration. We could take advantage of the opportunity to remind them of these few lessons, if indeed we know how to put them into practice ourselves, in the merciful love of the most holy hearts of Jesus and Mary.